In this video, I'm going to show you the mistakes we make endgame and how we are working to fix them. What's up guys, welcome to the 10th episode of Progression to Pro. This is a series where I show my progression every week on the road towards becoming a pro and share things I learned along the way to help you improve. If you enjoyed the series, please consider using code HOWL in the item shop. A big issue we're having in duels right now is consistently converting top 15s into top 3s. Converting endgames is one of the most important skills to have in tournaments. You can make it to endgame every game you play, but if you're dying in early moving zones, you're playing about 20 minutes for barely any points. If you make it to endgame 4 times in a tournament and you could convert every time, you could place really high. A good example of this is Malibuka and Mustache. They usually die off spawn or place top 3. Right now, converting endgames is our biggest problem in duos. We solved our off spawn issue and we always make it to endgame. Only issue now is we're playing our moving zones to die around top 13 and get 9 points in 22 minutes. Dying early moving zones wastes a ton of time and leaves so many points on the board. I'm going to show you guys some of the mistakes we make endgame that prevent us from placing better and what we need to do to fix that. First mistake we're making is not looking for a refresh on 5th zone when shambles. In general, getting a refresh on half sets you up to do well since you're one of the most stacked teams in the lobby, and since you have more mats it allows you more times until you need another refresh. We would be shambles on half and half and not try to make any plays on teams close. This is something we're starting to do more, and in the games that we do get a 5th zone refresh, we typically place top 3. It's difficult to consistently find a refresh on 5th zone, but when you do it, you can set up so well for endgame. The next mistake is not communicating. A huge part of duels is knowing exactly what your teammate is doing so you can help them if necessary. When in endgame, Leaf will tarp and I'll be kinda silent looking for drop downs and spraying kids. If I communicate what I'm doing, Leaf would be able to help me and we would get more refreshes. Another part of communicating is letting each other know when we get split from each other. Sometimes we would get split endgame and I wouldn't say anything, then die, and Leaf has no idea why. Bottom line is, duels is a team game mode, and if you're moving as 2 solos rather than a team, you won't do well. This is my first team FNCS, so there's still a lot I need to learn about being an effective teammate, but this is the easiest way to improve. Another mistake we make is playing out all of our mats and then look for a refresh. More often than not in endgame, we end up using all our mats, unable to find a refresh, then we are forced to jump in a kid's box and either get the refresh and continue our game or die right there. Clearly this isn't a consistent method. We start to look for something once we hit around 400 mats, and if we can't get it, our game isn't over since we still have mats to look for something else. But options are limited when you have 0 mats, and that happens far too often in tournaments. Part of the reason we aren't finding refreshes is because of our positioning in zone. The higher the layer, the less people you're going to find there. Same thing with dead side. The further you are dead side, less people you're going to run into. If we could fix our positioning and create more opportunities for refreshes, we'll understand and get more comfortable getting them. We also need to work on efficiently using mats. Sometimes we'll be full tarping on dead side of zone like it's trios rather than cheap tarp. You can get away with this in duels since it's easier for one person to stick on the tarper rather than 2 people. But full tarping in duels forces you to look for refreshes earlier, and if you can't find them, you run out of mats quick, forcing you to jump in a box and pray you get the refresh. Last mistake endgame is awareness. More often than not, it's my bad awareness getting me killed. Awareness is key endgame. Knowing who's around you, what builds aren't yours, and when your wall is getting pressured is all things you need to know if you want to survive endgame. There's been too many times where we could have lived longer if I were aware of what builds were mine or when people were in the back of our tarp. In this clip for example, we're looking for a refresh and I don't realize that kids are chopping in the back of our tarp and I get caught up. Another bad awareness clip would be when I'm on height completely ignoring any possible angles that an opponent might have on me and just tunnel vision spray at kids below me. This has caused quite a few endgames and they would have been huge in placing better. If we can clean up our endgames, we will be able to start placing higher and qualify for round 2s of the cash cups. For game sense, I need to VOD review more fraggers and understand the different way people play to become more effective endgame. I've definitely improved and am being more effective, but clearly I have a long way to go before becoming a top level fragger. Finding more refresh opportunities and being more comfortable taking over tarp when needed are 2 things I definitely need to be working on. Both players in duels should be able to play each role. One might be better than the other and do it more, but both players should have the ability to do anything. Another thing I need to work on is building on rotates in mid game. There will be times where I take unnecessary tags because I'm not blocking angles to teams that are looking at us. This costs us shield and sometimes causes us to get pushed, leaving us shambles or dead. I need to build more and be more aware of what angles are exposed and block them so I don't get tagged and waste our shield, since it's much easier to reform mats than it is to find extra shield mid game. For my aim, I need to work on getting surge tags. There will be many games where we are behind on surge and get tagged to die because of it. Sometimes it may be due to far pulling zones and positioning, but knowing when and where to look and hitting shots when given the opportunity is so important in making it further into the game. I'm using Raider's aim training map long range tag section with both the AUG and the hammer AR to practice hitting more shots. Another thing I need to work on is my shotgun aim endgame. There will be times where I miss some important shots that cost us a refresh that could secure us more placement. This is partially due to bad aim and also due to nerves. When it comes to important endgames, my hands start to shake, causing me to miss important shots and edits. If I could get over that, I'll be hitting more shots and we'll be making it further into endgame. Nerves will always be there when competing, but managing them becomes easier once you're familiar with that similar situation. That's why you don't see pros get shaky when they're clutching in high pressure situations. They've had similar experiences and know what it's like, allowing them to be fully focused on the situation they're in. Another thing I'm trying to prevent shakiness is this breathing exercise that helps calm nerves and allows you to focus. If you struggle with similar issues, I'd be sure to check out this post. I'll leave the link in the description. I'm starting to use it in tournaments now, and I'll update you guys on if it's been helpful in a later video. For mechanics, I'm practicing builds and edits I use in fights. I'm not too concerned about my edit speed or doing anything flashy, just not messing up builds and edits. Consistent builds and my mechanics will allow me to create more opportunities for kills and prevent me from taking unnecessary damage. My mechanics aren't bad, but there are definitely times where I miss important edits that could cost my game or a kill. I'll be practicing this by free building and practicing things I use in game, as well as playing arena while trying to hit every edit and practicing the edits I find myself struggling with. For fighting, I'm starting to play less PGs and more realistics in arena. In PGs, I play completely different from in-game. I'm more confident making certain edits and plays, but when it comes to in-game, I'm less confident and not as mechanical as I am in creative. I'm starting to play more arena while using my mechanics the same way I do in creative, and taking smart angles while playing aggressive. In arena, there are a lot of third parties, so I need to be able to finish fights quickly before more players show up. Even though players in arena aren't that good, it will still help me become more confident in fighting in tournaments since it's a setting I'm familiar with. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe if you're new. I'd really appreciate it. I'm live every day and stream all tournaments at twitch.tv/howfim. And be sure to follow my Twitter for any uploads and stream updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.